To start the process, we're first going to go to NotebookLM. We'll then create a new notebook. We will then close out of the upload section. And we need to get a prompt from Gemini to help us to get public domain materials for the task that we are undertaking. We're going to use a plain language prompt to put into NotebookLM so that it will search using deep research to find public domain text that deals specifically with fiction plots. If you need to modify this prompt, you can do it. If you're unconfident about your prompt, you can improve it in Gemini. We're going to attach the prompt. We're going to insert it, and we're going to ask Gemini if there is a way that we can improve it. We're always going to use the highest level prompt as we can when we submit the query. Gemini will then state that the prompt can be improved. And so it does have clarifying questions. We did ask Gemini if there were questions that we could add. And so it did come back to ask clarifying questions. We're going to answer Gemini's questions so that it can move forward. Question 2 is important because the AI is asking us if we want analysis of public domain text or do we want the actual text. And if we're going to sell the app, we want to make sure we have the rights to the book. We definitely want us to be limited to public domain text. It's also asking us if we want a summary of each book. And this is going to be helpful because this will help us to determine which books we're actually going to import into our NotebookLM. So we're going to say yes, and we're going to answer question 3. We're going to opt for an annotated bibliography. If you were doing this, you would use the one that would be most helpful to you. It's asking us if we want semantic substitutes. We're going to say yes. Once we answer those questions, Gemini is going to rewrite our prompt. Once we save the prompt to Google Docs, we're going to copy the prompt and we're going to place it inside of NotebookLM. We're going to go to the sources area. We're going to use the drop down. We're going to click on deep research. We will then paste in our prompt here in this area. Now, this prompt is going to take time for NotebookLM to complete. We're going to submit it and we're going to stop the video here. We're going to pick it up from the completion of the creation of the list of public domain materials that NotebookLM is going to be gathering for us to create our KDP Plot Generator. NotebookLM is then going to return a certain number of sources. You can click on the View command. And one of the things you can do first is you can go with some of the non-cited sources. And you can determine if any of these sources are going to be ones that you want to use. And you may choose that you want to have some of these sources for your KDP Plot Generator. NotebookLM puts together a report. And if you want, you can read the report to determine if any of these sources are going to be ones that you want to use. And you want to determine which of these sources that you will not use. And so typically you're going to want to use most of the sources that you get in the report. But in this case, what we're going to do, we will scroll through and not use some of the ones that we are uncomfortable with. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take out any of those that cannot be found in Project Gutenberg in this case. If it's not direct linked in Project Gutenberg, we're not going to use it. We now have our sources now selected. We're now going to import them into our notebook. You can call the notebook whatever you want to call it. You'll have the opportunity to change whatever you think the title is going to be when we go through the customization and configuration phase. As of this point, the notebook is still untitled. That's not important at this point. We're going to need to make some changes to the notebook to turn it into an automated process. We need to customize and configure NotebookLM. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a prompt that looks something like the prompt on your screen. And you're going to tell NotebookLM how you want the notebook to work when a user goes into NotebookLM. You want to keep in mind that this set of instructions will not be visible to the customer or to whoever you are sharing the notebook with. And so this will be the point where you are doing something proprietary that your customer will not be able to see. Everything else will be visible to the customer. In fact, one of the things that you could do is you could take out your deep research report and you can remove that as a source and just leave the public domain content. What we want now from this prompt is for Gemini to give us the configuration prompt for NotebookLM, the welcome message prompt, and then the image prompt to customize the notebook. So we've created this prompt inside of Google Docs, so we can now go to Gemini to use the prompt. Once again, we're going to go through the process to determine if the prompt can be improved. So we're going to attach the prompt, and we're going to put in a plain language prompt. We're just going to ask Gemini if the prompt can be improved. We want to determine if we can improve the prompt, and we're going to write in plain language what we want the prompt to do. We're basically asking Gemini if it can improve on what we're doing. You want to use the highest level prompt that you have, and then you want to submit it. Gemini comes back to say that it can be improved, and so it did rewrite the prompt. And so we're going to take Gemini's prompt and we're going to take it to a separate conversation in order to get the information that we want. We're first going to save this prompt to a Google Doc. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the entire prompt, and we're going to copy the beginning to the end through all three elements. We're then going to head to Gemini. We want to use the best prompt we have available. We're going to paste in our prompt. We will then click enter. So in your answer, you should have three pieces of information. You should have the configuration instructions, the welcome customization, and the image generation prompt. So we're going to start with the configuration instructions. We're going to copy them, and we're going to head to NotebookLM. We're going to click on the configuration button. Inside of configure chat, we're going to go to the custom button. We're going to paste in the instructions, and we'll just make sure the quotes are not in the prompt. We're going to leave the default link. We will then save it. We can F5 to make sure our notebook is then configured. What we now need to do is we need to make sure that the customization area matches the new configuration. And so our prompt did give us new customization instructions that we can place here in this area. So we're going to take this entire text. We'll then head to NotebookLM. We'll click on Customize. We will then turn on the custom summary. We'll then paste in our custom summary. We will then click Done. And our welcome note is now customized. If you want to then refresh your notebook, you can do it. And your notebook is now ready. Now, one thing that you want to do, you may want to change the title of your notebook, and you can do that here. And we will then click Done. So you'll notice then that there is no real contrast here in the note. And you can actually have Gemini to help you to improve this or improve the look of this. We're going to screenshot this. We're going to head back to Gemini. For this, we can open a new conversation. We're going to upload our screenshot. So we're going to ask for Gemini to give us an improvement on the text that we can put in. So we're going to use the Markdown. We're going to click Copy. We'll then head back to Customize. And we're then going to copy over the information that we had. And we'll use the Markdown. And we have a better looking area. So the final piece of configuration is the image, and we can upload an image here in this area. We did get a prompt from Gemini. We're now going to grab the third prompt, which is our image generation prompt. We'll now open up a separate conversation. We'll open up a new chat. We'll then make sure that Gemini is in place on create image. We will then paste in our prompt. We will then submit our prompt. And we now have our new image. We can now download our new image. We can now upload our image. And our image is now complete, and our notebook is now customized. The plot generator works simply. The user is instructed to type hello. We program the notebook to ask one of two questions, and so we're going to choose one of the elements. Now you'll notice then that the plot generator does provide advice based on the information from the public domain, but the user can also then interact with the plot generator, and they can talk about a specific scene where they are having trouble. So the user can put in a place in the prompt where they think they may be stuck. So as you can see, whether you're going to be using a plot generator or you're going to be giving access to this generator, this will assist the individual in what it is they're trying to do, and it'll be using information that you have the rights to use by using public domain content. And obviously, if you're going to be selling, there are many more customizations that you can be doing, such as creating studio assets and then more complex customization in your configuration, which is your proprietary area. Okay, so thanks, and I will see you in another video.